Are you making a trip out to East Texas? In today's video, we're going to give you the itinerary of everything that you need to do to make the trip complete. As always, thank you for checking out our newest video on living in Tyler, Texas. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. That way you get notified of all of our newest videos as they drop immediately. Additionally, we have a Facebook group, Moving to East Texas, another great resource to find out more information. And I am your friend in real estate. If you're thinking about making a move, please don't hesitate to reach out. We help people every day make East Texas their home, and I would love to be a resource for you. All right, so you're making a trip out to East Texas. Let's go over what you need to do, how to make the most of the trip, things you need to see, where you need to eat, where you need to stay to kind of experience Tyler. All right, first up is where to stay. Now, for whatever reason, I have a handful of people stay in Lindale. Its proximity to the interstate probably being one of those, but Lindale's a little bit further from Tyler, but there's three great options that have good ratings and pretty good value for your cost of stay. We've got the Hampton Inn, 4.5 stars with a $112 average nightly rate. You've got the Holiday Inn Express with a 4.7 star rating at $131 a night. And then you have the Best Western with 3.8 stars, but it's only $72 a night. So those are three good options in Lindale. If we look in Tyler, we've got a few more options. Now, where you stay in Tyler will kind of dictate what you want to take in. There's a couple cool options in downtown Tyler. Right now, you can stay at the Greyhound Inn. It's got a 4.8 star rating for about $96 a night. It's one of downtown's newest hotels, converted Greyhound bus station. So because of that, they've kind of converted into a hotel. Another one is the Thomas Hotel, kind of a boutique style hotel right on the square. Now it's a little bit pricier. You're going to have about a $201 average nightly rate. It does have a 4.6 star rating. So that's a good option if you want to kind of experience something a little bit more unique, experience downtown on the square and that kind of thing. Now there are three options that I've got listed. These are not the only options. Clearly, these are just the ones that stood out when I was making the list. Our budget option is going to be Sleep Inn and Suites, which is just south of Broadway. And believe it or not, I worked there from 2010 to 2012 as a night auditor. It's a pretty good hotel. We just had a little a meeting held there. It's still very clean, 4.6 stars, and it's going to be, like I said, $82 a night, which is a pretty good deal. Another one is going to be the Courtyard on Broadway, $93 a night, a 4.0 rating. The Residence Inn, also on Broadway, is a $149 a night average rate with a 4.4 rating. So those are four pretty good options. The Residence Inn, the Hampton Inn, the Courtyard Inn, and Sleep Inn and Suites. That would give you access to South Tyler. All right, now when you're thinking about eating and things like that, I assume most of these places probably have a complimentary breakfast of some capacity, but if you want something different, obviously plenty of fast food options, Whataburger, McDonald's, all the typical stuff that you would find with all the fast food places, and they are all in close proximity to most of those. Outside of the downtown ones, I don't think there's going to be much fast food available in those areas. But if you're looking to go sit down and experience a little bit better breakfast, First Watch, which is near downtown, right before you get there, heading north on Broadway. It is a chain, but it is very good. You know, a good little sit-down spot to get a nicer, fuller breakfast. The diner is a popular South Tyler location just before you get to the new shopping center. Also really great. One of my favorites, which I probably eat at 3 or 4 times more than the other two, is Mama's, which is also in South Tyler, but they do have an East Tyler location. But it is a breakfast and Mexican food place, so a little bit unique, but the food is good. And I will say probably the reason I eat there most is because it is right next door. So we do frequent it from time to time. It's a pretty good value price-wise compared to the other two, so if you're looking for breakfast options, those are three. All right, so for lunch and dinner, some of my favorite spots, and we're only going to focus on local places because I feel like when you come from out of town, first up, there is Don Juan's. It's probably a little bit more traditional Mexican food place and not your typical Tex-Mex. They have two locations, one on the square, which is the one we go to the most, and then another one further east on Irwin Street. Great food, solid pricing, just a cool spot to go. The Grove is a nicer, a little bit more upscale restaurant. You're probably going to pay $30 to $50 a person, depending on food, drinks, things like that. So it is going to be a little bit more pricey, but it is a very nice spot. I think the biggest draw to the Grove, in addition to the food, is the kind of the location or the setting, the restaurant itself. It's very nice. You've got a couple different themes, you've got great outdoor space, you've got a couple different areas that you can eat within the restaurant that are all designed a little bit different. So the Grove is a cool experience, and would definitely recommend that if you want something a little bit more upscale. One of my favorite Tex-Mex places is the Jalapeno Tree. Good salsa, good queso, food's pretty solid, and when I rate Mexican restaurants, I will say it's primarily based on those two, salsa and queso. The Mexican food to me is all pretty similar. Most people don't stand out in the entree section. So for me, queso and salsa are going to be the biggest draws on how I rate those. A little bit higher, which they call it Latin cuisine. Higher end is Villa Montez or Villa Montez. Kind of be priced similar to the Grove, maybe a little bit cheaper. It's built in what's an old mansion. Used to be called Mansion in the Hill, in fact, but it is steak, Latin type cuisine, very good, and a little bit more reasonable than the Grove. I would say the downside to it does have very little parking, and it is on the east side of town, so you're kind of going out of your way likely if you're making a trip over here to go eat there. Now, another restaurant that the same people that Villa Montez is 1836. It's kind of like a modern Texas cuisine. You've got a little bit of Tex-Mex, you've got a little bit of like chicken fried steak, some modern takes on that. It's a really good spot on Old Jacksonville, so it's going to be kind of in the South Tyler area as well. Another popular spot is FD's. It's in the new shopping center, and they've got a mix of a little bit of everything, kind of American fish. They probably have some Tex-Mex dishes, typical appetizers. It's a pretty good value, I would say, relative to some of the other places for what you get. Really good food, good service, nice restaurant, that kind of thing. So FD's could be on your list as well. One of my favorite lunch spots that we go to after church, I don't eat there often otherwise, I guess, but is New York Pizza. It's still pizza by the slice. You can get a pizza, salad, and drink, I think, for $10, maybe $11, which is a pretty good deal when you look at the cost of most things. Plenty of food to get full. What I love probably most, which is a little weird, the pizza's very good, but I love their Caesar dressing. I get a Caesar salad, and it's just my favorite Caesar dressing. But New York Pizza's a great local spot just next to Bergfeld Park that you should check out. Now, if you want sushi, we do have several options. I remember when Shogun's was the only place and they built a second one, and it's definitely grown from there. Kawa's is the newest one. Yamamoto's is probably my second favorite, with Kawa's maybe being the same, and then Shogun is still very good. Those three are going to offer sushi and hibachi. I think I like Kawa's noodles and rice maybe more, and I would say they actually, their steak is very good. I would say Yamamoto is better steak-wise. I haven't had Shogun in a while, but Shogun's a great option. If you're looking for just normal sushi with no hibachi option, Wasabi and Makoto is very good as well. So those are 5 sushi places that you could choose from. Now, when we talk about dessert, for me, there's really only one place that I recommend, and it's Andy's, the frozen custard. Now, it is a national chain, so you've probably had Andy's, and then you would understand why it's the place to go. Just great. Love Andy's. It's a wonderful spot. There are a few other places like Brahms that's pretty good value to get ice cream and things like that. It's probably half the price of Dairy Queen if you're looking for that kind of thing. So Andy's, Brahms, Dairy Queen, great places to get dessert. All right, so when you're on your own, you've found out where you're staying, where you're going to eat, all that kind of stuff. A couple neighborhoods that I think should kind of be on your radar if you're looking at homes, just to kind of familiarize yourself. In one of our other videos, we referenced the most underrated neighborhoods, and that one of those areas is the Green Acres area. But if we look at 75701, the zip code primarily, that's going to be the stuff that sits kind of inside the loop. You're going to have stuff built in the 1980s, things like that, more ranch style homes, greater than 2,000 square feet, kind of around that $300,000 price point. Driving in that little area inside the loop, I think, is a good option. I would also look at 75707, kind of on the east side. You're going to have more homes built in the late 90s, 2000s, and that kind of thing. You're still looking at a similar price point, just near the university area. Bullard, I think, is a great option as well. These homes are going to be kind of under $300,000 to look at. A lot of that stuff's going to be late 90s, early 2000s, just further south. White House, very similar to Bullard, maybe a little bit older, but those would be the areas that I would kind of keep on my radar to look at and explore. And then Lindale would be the last one. If you're looking at towns outside of Tyler, Lindale's gonna have similar price points to Bullard and White House, but you're gonna have much newer homes. Lindale's growth has occurred much more recently than Bullard and White House. Now, Bullard is definitely growing, but I think a lot of that Bullard population, when we're looking at price point, is gonna be north of like 450, 500. They're building bigger homes on bigger lots in Bullard, to where Lindale is still kind of catering to that first-time home buyer, sub 300,000, new construction. So those would be the areas, if I'm looking under 300,000 to explore, would be inside the loop 75701, east side of town 75707, near the university, those neighborhoods. Bullard, late 90s, early 2000s. White House, very similar. Lindale's going to be newer homes. Now, if you're looking under $500,000, these are the areas that I would be focusing on. First would be Oak Creek. You have a community pool, much newer homes, 2018 to brand new construction, and a lot of them are going to be north of 500,000, but there are several homes in there right now under 500,000. Neighborhoods around Old Jacksonville and South Tyler, like Holly Tree, that kind of stuff. The Brooks is a pretty good neighborhood as well. You're going to be in that sub $500,000 price point. It's also featured on our family-friendly neighborhoods. The College Streets, which is, you're going to find bigger homes, a little bit older, but you're going to have great proximity to Broadway and South Tyler. If you want something newer construction, probably sub 2,500 square feet, primarily 2,200 to 2,500 square feet. Excuse me. The 7570604 zip code, that's going to kind of be northwest of Tyler, which is going to sit a little bit west and south of Lindale. The benefit of those, they are Lindale ISD. They're newer construction within the past probably 3-4 years on bigger lots. Another good neighborhood that we don't often talk about is Tall Timbers. You're going to have stuff built late 90s, early 2000s, 22 to 3,500 square feet. It's going to be very similar to the Woods, but a much smaller neighborhood. All right, so in the luxury price point, if you're looking probably north of 700,000, these are the neighborhoods that I would kind of focus on. The Crossing, the newest South Tyler neighborhood, most of these homes are going to be north of 3,000 square feet. You're going to be in that $3 to $1 million plus price point. Holly Tree is always great for that. These are older homes primarily, but they do have quite a few new homes being built in and around late 2000 teens, 20s, things like that. You know, a lot of those are going to be in the 7 to 8, 9, 1 million plus. Winford Park is a smaller neighborhood, but one of my favorites, and the reason I list it is because it's usually, the gates are open during the day. These are going to be like 9 to 1.5 million, and you're looking at 35 to 45, maybe even 5,000 square feet. All of them built probably post 2017-18. They're going to sit on 1 acre lots. Great little neighborhood. A little bit lower price point. This is going to be sub 700,000, but you're going to get 5 to 600,000 or $5 to $600,000 price point probably. Bullard's also going to have quite a few luxury type homes. Now there's not going to be neighborhoods that you can really drive around, but you can find homes in that area to kind of drive by and look, get a feel of its location relative to other things that are going to be important for you living in East Texas. Now, while you're here, you want to have things to do to kind of experience Tyler and kind of what it is, what day-to-day life would be like, and just stuff to kill time between looking at houses, eating, and that kind of thing. So here's a handful of things that I think are worthwhile to check out. First up is the zoo. Caldwell Zoo has been around forever, and I'm old enough to remember when the zoo used to be free, but it is no longer free, but it is a pretty good zoo, especially for a smaller town like Tyler. You've got tons of animals. You can spend 3, 4, 5 hours there, and it's just a really good spot to see. Explore downtown. Now, that's not as easy as it once was, but in the next year or two, it's going to be much simpler. There's lots of shops, there's lots of restaurants, things like that. You can walk, hang out at the square. Not yet, but you will. I think is a good option. The Rose Garden is always good. Now, I say that I haven't been to the Rose Garden in forever, but it's massive. You can spend a lot of time looking at all the variations of roses because Tyler's the rose capital of the world. So we do kind of take pride in that. So the Rose Garden's a great stop if you're interested in that. You can see previous Rose Queens gowns and stuff like that and kind of understand the history of the roses with Tyler. A good place to go do something at night is Grand Slam for the family. You've got an arcade, bowling, movies. They serve food, pizza, drinks, all that kind of stuff. So it's a great spot just to kind of get out, have fun, provide options for everybody in your family. If you want to get outdoors, Tyler State Park is actually really nice. Additionally, Faulkner Park is going to offer Tyler State Park on a smaller scale, but Tyler State Park is a state park, obviously, so it's going to be pretty well maintained. It's a pretty spot. You can camp, take your RV, whatever it may be. You can fish, swim at the lake there, and it's just a worthwhile spot if you want to get outdoors. For the little kids, when we talk about exploring downtown, the Discovery Science Place is always great. They've always got different exhibits in and out and things like that, but it's a great place for kids to run around, see some cool stuff, kill some time, get some of that anxious energy out if they've been, cooped up driving, looking at houses and things like that. Discovery Science Place is a really good option. And I would say really even for kids, probably 12 and under, it's going to be a lot of fun. Probably 8 and under, it's a ton of fun. And the final spot, just to kind of get the kids out and moving, iJump and Urban Air are both great places. They're both trampoline parks. iJump is a little bit smaller trampoline park, but still plenty of stuff to do. Urban Air is in a new shopping center and is going to have a bigger facility for kids to kind of run around, jump around, and have some fun. Now, on my areas just to drive and explore and see, the Azalea District. Historical, cool homes, lots of character, just different stuff, kind of gives you a history of Tyler, a super desirable area, and just some really incredible homes to see. Additionally, I would spend time in Bullard, driving through town, looking at the restaurants, going in, seeing the people. The same for White House, Lindale, and Chandler. Now, we did a video on all 4 of those in different Bullard, White House, Chandler, and Lindale. You can check out all those videos to find out a little bit more about those communities, but I do recommend, if you're not tied to Tyler specifically, to look at the surrounding towns, because in a lot of cases you can find better value outside of Tyler. Now, exploring South Tyler is definitely very good. I would recommend driving down Old Jacksonville, going towards Fresh, going down South Broadway, the new shopping center, and just that's where most of the development is. If you got a handle on that, you'll be able to understand where everything is kind of that is growing and whatnot in South Tyler. Those areas I would just drive up and down, just get a feel for it. You don't have to go in any place, I think, but just driving the streets to kind of see how it's laid out. Additionally, you are going to get a feel for the traffic because that is where most of the congestion is, primarily on Broadway, but those are 2 areas of South Tyler that I would recommend exploring. All right, so we gave you places to stay, places to eat, places to see, things to do. So I hope this makes your trip to East Texas a little bit more organized so you're not just kind of guessing what to do. If you have any questions or would like maps or additional resources, reach out. I'll be happy to send those to you to put on your list. As always, thank you for checking out our newest video. If you found it helpful, leave us some comments, give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We want to remind you about our Facebook group, Moving to East Texas, a great resource and place to ask questions about making a move to Tyler or East Texas in general. And as always, we want to remind you we are your friend in real estate. So if you're thinking about making a move to East Texas, please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to make East Texas your home.